Hey everyone, Joe Waxman here, the mediocre astrologer. Nah, he's okay. What's up, guys? I just got back from the gym. That's why I'm wearing this attire. It's my gym outfit. I didn't feel like changing. I'm still a bit hot, so it is what it is. Deal with it, I guess, but it's not so bad. Anyway, today I want to look at the astrology of sex. So this should be an interesting topic. Like, subscribe, share. You guys know what to do all that stuff. And yeah, book a reading with me. Macroastrology.com is my website. Macro Gold Machine at yahoo.com. It's my email. You can email me directly. Yeah, so let's get right into it. And so, all right, we're gonna look at um strippers and former strippers and prostitutes and former prostitutes and porn stars and madams of whorehouses and in fact yeah, a couple others that we'll look at as well, all around sex. Now Chris Pratt, some of you may know him. He was in the movies. He played a superhero. What was that? The anyway, I with the little raccoon dude and the tree, Groot. Yeah, he was, and you guys know, you probably know better than me. Anyway, he was a stripper. Yep, Chris Pratt was a stripper. All right. Well, he's got a Scorpio rising. He's pretty similar to me, actually. Scorpio rising with Uranus, Scorpio in the first retrograde. So pretty independent, pretty rebellious, funny guy. Gemini, eighth house, right? And then Sun in the eighth. And that's going to be a common theme. You're going to see a lot of eighth house activity. Scorpio, Pluto, 12th house, Pisces. He's got a south node in Pisces. We will see fifth house, but fifth house, once again, it's not sex, it's entertainment, right? And just because you'll see people who are involved in entertainment, who are also involved in sex work or, like strippers, stuff like that, it doesn't mean the two are the same, right? And I just want to make this clear because it's going to come up again and again. People like to associate sex with the fifth house because they think romance leads to sex, therefore it's the same thing. Like, all right, just let me give you an analogy. You're out with your hot date and a nice dinner, and it's going so well, and you're just like smitten with each other. Sparks are flying across the room. You're at a fancy restaurant. You're like, oh my God, this is going so great. I want to rip your clothes off. Let's have sex right here. No, you don't have fucking sex in the restaurant, right? Like, you don't do that because fifth house and eighth house are connected. One can lead to another, but they're not the same. Just like sex can lead to children, right? And children leads to school. That doesn't mean that children and school are in the eighth house. And like children leads to like needing a home. Doesn't mean that, like, just because something is related to doesn't mean it's the same as, right? Fifth house is entertainment, and yeah, sex has this quality that can connect to entertainment and romance and fun and games, right? But it's not the fifth house. That's just completely wrong and just ridiculous. Like, it's just not. Okay, so like we need to crush that. Like, stupid stuff in astrology just needs to be crushed. Right? So anyway, that's going to come up. It's relevant. That's why I'm talking. It's not a tangent. It's very relevant. All right, so we got a lot to go through, 20 charts, so I'm not going to belabor this. South Node, Pisces, fifth house. Let's see. Sun and Venus in the eighth house, MC Lord in the eighth house, Moon, Mars conjunction. I mean, some people are too uptight. Like, obviously, this is when he's young, so South Node, Pisces. Like, I have my Gemini Sun in the eighth house. I would never strip, but I have a Virgo Moon, right? He's got Virgo Moon and Virgo North Node and Saturn, but that doesn't pick up till later in life. So, like, initially, he's all South Node Pisces, entertainment, fun, free willy kind of thing. I don't know why I said that, free willy. I think that's a whale. That's not sex, but anyway. So that's Chris Pratt. Free the willy. That's funny. All right. This Pluto is kind of slow. I'm just curious here. +5. It's pretty slow. It's 5 days from station, so his Pluto's pretty strong, but it's in the 12th, so he's pretty destructive, right? Yeah, he definitely has gonna have pretty destructive, and he's very independent. So I probably like Chris Pratt because we're very similar in that way. We both have the same first three planets all retrograde here, and so that gives him a lot of resistance to bullshit, right? His subconscious mind is Pluto retrograde, Uranus retrograde, Neptune retrograde. Anyway, all right, let's keep going. Maya Angelou, she was a prostitute, believe it or not. Yep, she was. All right. MC Lord Venus, exalted on the 8th cusp. I mean, come on, come on. Neptune in the 1st. She's also got Uranus, Sun. I mean, it's moving into the 9th house, but Uranus definitely quite shocking, right? Pluto's in Cancer. Pluto's square the Sun and Jupiter. So, I mean, this gives her this destructive quality, this sexual, especially when she's young, willing to do extreme things. Pluto is very extreme. But enough said there. I mean, that's evident. 8th house, and then Jupiter's, I mean, it's conjunct the Sun. So 8th Lord conjunct the Sun, you could say, right? It's not really 8th. I wouldn't draw too much 8th house influence from there. Maybe a little bit, but mostly the Venus and Mercury. Mercury's ruling the second. Actually, second house has to do with, like when women say, "Oh, you treat us like objects." That's the second house thing, because we're not really, like when guys are oogling like pretty girls with big, big breasts or butt or whatever they're into, right? That's very much second house. That's not so much first house. First house is like, oh, I really love this person, I want to marry them. Second house is like, God damn, they're hot. These are assets. You're treating them like an object. You're treating them like an asset. You're treating them like a thing, an object, right? Objectifying. That's the second house thing. It's not necessarily bad. A lot of women actually, if they have second house, a lot of second house planets, they're gonna be all about being an object. They're gonna doll themselves up with makeup and hair and jewelry and clothes and fashion and blah 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 blah. That's all second house stuff. And guys will do the same thing with a lot of second house. More women, because women do like it's like more normal for women to wear jewelry and makeup and the hair and all sorts of accessories and stuff like that. We looked at Maya Angelou recently, so we don't really need to belabor that. Pluto is very slow here. So Pluto is very strong. And let's just check that. Yeah, -6 days. So pretty close. All right. Let's keep going. Cardi B. Cardi B has made it known that she called herself a hoe. So I'm not disrespecting her. She called herself a hoe. She was a stripper, I think, and she slept with men, and not like, I don't think it was like a prostitute thing. I think it was like she just seduced men and stole their money. So it's like, yeah, not better than a prostitute, definitely. But whatever. Everyone's got to do something, I guess. I don't know. But let's see here. Venus conjunct Pluto in the 8th, Venus being the 7th Lord, right? So she meets a guy, she goes to bed with him, and Pluto, Scorpio, 8th house, boom. Like, give me money now. So she was like an undercover prostitute, basically. Like, guys didn't even know she was. I mean, essentially, if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to seduce guys and steal their money, you're a trick prostitute. You're like a prostitute, and the guy doesn't even know it. You know what I mean? So whatever. But MC Lord's in the 11th. Mars in Cancer in the 4th. So Mars in Cancer is violent, hypersexual, and so at home, like in bed, like take guys home and be, hypersexual, and stealing money is kind of violent, right? So we're seeing a bit of that here as well, right? And it's opposite Uranus and Neptune. Drugs, alcohol. She probably got him drunk. Maybe she even drugged him. I don't know. Who knows, right? But Uranus is also quite, shocking. What else? Yeah, Mars is the eighth lord and the ascendant lord. And uh let's see. What am I looking for? Yeah, fourth lord and the first. With yeah, that's a mutual reception there, first and fourth. Mars and Moon. Um giant T square there. But yeah, obviously eighth house activity, big time. Scorpio eighth house, Venus, Pluto, right? So we'll see this again and again. Fifth house is only comes up when it's involved with like entertainment. But for sex, it's eighth house. And I say this, I keep making a point because I saw this thing with three classical astrologers, and they're all like big shots, and they're all like, we're so smart, we're real astrologers. All you other astrologers don't know shit. And they're like, sex is not eighth house, it's fifth house, because we read old books and written by old men like 1,000 years ago, and we're that smart, and sex is not eighth house, it's fifth house, because the old book said so. I'm like, you're fucking dumb, because you're not looking at charts. You're not validating anything. You're just reading old books, and you're full of shit. Like, astrology is not, doesn't work that way. So, if it ever was fifth, I don't think it ever was fifth house. I think it's just the wrong interpretation, right? Because of entertainment and like, romance leads to sex. But just like we don't have sex in the restaurant, we go to private. That's eighth house. Private, closed bed. You don't even, it's like you're going to have sex with someone, you don't even keep the shades open. You shut the shades, you close the door, you lock it, and you might probably even turn out, a lot of people probably turn out the lights, right? That's an eighth house thing. In no way is fifth house. Fifth house is fun and games and the schoolyard and the theater, right? And the fancy restaurant. There's nothing to do with sex. It can lead to sex, but all the houses lead to each other. They're all connected. It's just stupid. Like, I'm just pissed off that people can be so fucking dumb. So, yeah, Cardi B. Candy Bar, not related to Roseanne Barr, but Roseanne Barr is on the list. Interesting list. Interestingly, this is Candy Bar. She's an American stripper, burlesque, exotic dancer, actress in one adult film movie, and model in men's magazines in the mid 20th century. During the 50s. So she's born in 1935. So this is an old school stripper, old school porn. During the 50s, she received nationwide attention for stripper career in Dallas, blah, blah, blah. Prison, stripping. All right. All right. So let's see what's going on here. Mercury and Gemini, Mercury, Gemini ascendant. So Saturn is the eighth lord, North Node in the eighth, Saturn's the eighth lord in Pisces with conjunct the MC in the 10th. It's right there, eighth and the 10th. 10th and the eighth, eighth and the 10th. I mean, obviously not 10th and the eighth here, but normally, like a lot of times. And then Jupiter in Scorpio conjunct the 6th for work, daily work, right? This is not fifth. This is sixth. It's in the sixth whole sign house. It's conjunct the sixth ascendant from the fifth, but like a couple degrees, right? But it's really about the sixth. And then South Node Pluto with Sun in Cancer in the second, right? The assets, the objects, right? Women who like will spend money on a boob job, that's going to be second house. Or like, J-Lo and shores her butt, that's second house. It's ridiculous. Like, I have no respect for J-Lo. Just to throw that out there. Like, none. Like give me a fucking break. Like, she's an idiot. Anyway. Jupiter, MC Lord Jupiter, and conjunct the Sith and Scorpio. It's very, very strippy here. Very porny. I like making up words. So. I mean, she's making up her name, so I'm gonna make up words about her. Anyway. Jupiter, Neptune, Petro. I'm a Gemini. I can make up words. It's kind of like it's a license to make up words when you're a Gemini. I think Moon Neptune also is contributing to that because Neptune rules Pisces. It's Virgo, so it's kind of uptight. So she probably had to like, well, the Neptune, if it wasn't for this Neptune, this Virgo moon would definitely get in the way. The Virgo moon does not want to strip. It's Virgo. It's pure. It's puritanical. It's like doesn't want that. But South Node, Pluto, Sun, Cancer, second house, all that, everything else. Candy bar. And then we got Roseanne Barr. Not related, but funny. Roseanne Barr, believe it or not, was a prostitute. I mean, that's pretty unbelievable, if you ask me. But she was. And I copied the little thing just because it was relevant. Roseanne Barr reveals she used to be a prostitute to earn money before making it big in Hollywood. She told Vanity Fair she had no shame whatsoever over being a sex worker, and she believes prostitution should be legal. Prostitution is a business. She said it's not about wanton women from medieval times. It's a fucking way to make money. It's a fucking way to make money. It's literal, very literal. It's a fucking way to make money. But South Node Pluto, right, in 7. That's very relevant. Sun in Scorpio, Scorpio MC, and where's Mars? Mars in the 12th. It's in Capricorn, but the 12th, right? So obviously she'd not have a career in porn or stripping or prostitution. She has a career as a actress and comedian, 6th house stuff, right? But it was a part of her early life. South Node, Pluto, 7th house. And then it obviously MC in Scorpio with Sun in Scorpio definitely lends it, and Mars. Right? I have to reiterate just to be clear. I mean, yeah. As some people have trouble following me, I've heard, like, because I move through things fast. That's why I like trying, like, I say it, then I say it again, just to be really, really, really clear. Let's see here. I just look at this out of curiosity, just to, all right. Uranus retro, it's pretty slow. Let's check. And that's the 6th house. That's our comedy. So I think it's relevant. Yeah, I mean 10 days, it's not that slow, but still. It's retro. It's 6th house. 6th house is like TV shows and stuff like that. The regularity of a TV show or a magazine, periodical, something that's regular is very 6th house. Blac Chyna. I think let's see, let's read about it. She's like let me see. Her mother, Tokyo Tony, on Instagram, professionally known as Blac Chyna. China's an American model, socialite, and entrepreneur, originally rising to prominence in 2010 as the stunt double for Nicki Minaj in the music video Monster by Kanye West. Chyna gained wider media attention after being name dropped in the song Miss Me by Drake in the same year, leading a number of magazine appearances, including pieces in Dime Piece, Straight Stunt, and Black Men's Magazine. She launched her own makeup brand and beauty salon. Let's see. Stripping at the King of Diamonds, a popular Miami club. Chyna's unusual and exotic look made her popular. So she kind of looks like Nicki Minaj, I guess. Described her looking like someone who is going to be famous. So she's famous just for her looks, I guess. I don't know. I've never heard of her before. Modeling jobs. Nicki Minaj. All right. She's gone several surgery for buttocks augmentation and breast enhancement, but also had surgery to reduce the size of her chest. So first she's enlarging her breasts, and then she's reducing it. So can't make up her mind. But 2nd house, Pluto, Scorpio, retrograde. So she's just like destructive, and the retrograde is sort of like going back. That's why she's like, okay, I had breast surgery once, I got to do it again. We went big, now we're going small. That's the retrograde. It's like, did I do it right the first time? I'm not sure. Well, let's try again. If large didn't work, let's go small. But all right, let's see. Mercury. So Mercury, obviously the MC Lord, Mercury in Gemini. So her Mercury is obviously her MC Lord is dignified, right? So career. And Chiron's going to be very unusual, different, and Venus, Mercury is also a ascendant lord, Venus second house, so beauty, object, like the objectification in her career, as beauty, right? That would be more second house, right? If somebody is like makes a career out of their looks instead of them as a person, which it is more her look. She got famous for her look. That's Venus. But also Mercury is very, it's in the ninth, but close to the MC, and it's in the same whole sign house. Sun, Jupiter, Jupiter, you could make a case that it's in the eighth, but it's really moving towards the ninth. And then we got Moon and North Node Moon in Pisces. Pisces will relate to the sexuality, but Mars also is the eighth lord in the sixth. So six for work. So eighth lord as her work, right? So it's not really strong as strong as others, but this Pluto and Scorpio in the second is very telling. Mars, eighth lord Mars in the sixth, very like it's exact. So a daily work out of eighth house stuff. And then Moon and North Node Moon in Pisces, I guess, definitely will add to that. That's not enough alone. That's not going to do it, right? We need the eighth house activation or Pluto, So we got the Pluto and the Mars, and Jupiter, I guess you could say. Jupiter is ruling the fourth and the seventh, so something like that. Anyway, I wanted to include like different types of people, not just all poor. Plus, because like, okay, like just to be real about it, I don't want to look at porn, searching through like the hottest porn actresses like for very long. It's only so much I can stand of that. I don't want to look at it at all. Because I'm just like, that's destructive to me. That's just as destructive as like alcohol or cigarettes or drugs. So I try to avoid that stuff. I really don't want to look at it. Because I'm trying to grow my life and myself. And if you're wasting energy with all that destructive shit, it just drains you, right? So I don't like looking at it. So I didn't want to just be like filled up with porn actresses. Plus, most of the porn actresses, they're not on Astro Theme where I get my birth charts, birth dates. So I have to go with like the Chris Pratts and the Roseanne Barrs and there's a few straight porn actresses on here, the big names, a few big names. But anyway, let's keep going. I check there. I'm just confused. Yeah. All right. Stormy Daniels, the one who is famous from the whole Trump thing that she supposedly paid her off. I don't know. I really don't care. Like, doesn't bother me. Trump's gonna do what Trump's gonna do. That's not why. Anyway, whatever. Not getting political right now. Let me read. What Joe Biden does a billion times worse. Like getting in the shower with his daughter and all kinds of crap. Anyway. Also known as Stormy Waters, or simply Stormy, is an American porn actress, screenwriter, and director. Later considered challenging Senate. Okay, so she's also political. Considering challenging incumbent David Vitter for 2010 Senate election in native Louisiana. All right, nothing. All right. Neptune in the first. That's not really, porny or anything like that, but it can sort of ease the way towards it, because so Neptune is just so all accepting and embracing, right? But then we see like Moon and Uranus and Scorpio, okay, and then Pluto in the 10th, right? And then so Venus in the second, so MC Lord Venus in the second. So career out of looks, being treated as an object, a career out of her assets. her assets. And then South Node Mars and Sun in Pisces, Jupiter in Cancer. He's also Jupiter in Cancer, but conjunct the eighth lord. So Sun is the eighth lord, South Node, Sun in Pisces, Sun trine Jupiter in Cancer, so water. So you can see between like Moon, Uranus, Scorpio, Pluto in the 10th. Jupiter's the ascendant lord. It's in Cancer. So obviously it's exalted. So Jupiter in Cancer is good, but so successful, she's going to have success with Jupiter in Cancer as the ascendant lord, but it's still conjunct out of sign, but still conjunct the eighth cusp. And Cancer is still a water sign, so it still lends itself to that. Cancer alone is not going to do it, right? But then the Scorpio and the Pisces, she's got almost a grand trine basically, but it's not exact. But all three water signs represented, Pluto and the FC. So obviously, right? Sun ruling the South Node, conjunct the eighth lord Sun. Anyway, a lot of sexuality going on here. Mercury retro, Jupiter retro. And it's likely that you're going to see a lot of retrogrades with these kind of people because they need to have resistance to do what they do. They're not going to just, it's not like, widely accepted to be a porn actress or a stripper or a prostitute. You know what I mean? You got to have some resistance. And her Neptune's pretty slow and it's conjunct the ascendant. So powerful Neptunian sort of all embracing acceptance. And also Neptune for being an actress, right? Pretenses, 12th, creativity, and hold on. Heidi Fleiss. All right. Known as the Hollywood Madam, is a former American madam. She was convicted in connection with a prostitution ring with charges including pandering and tax evasion. Her ring had numerous famous and wealthy clients. She was sentenced to 37 months in prison for tax evasion, but served just 21. Her father is a famous intactivist, one who opposes circumcision. That's got to be a real life calling. You know what I mean? Like, who really makes it their life's work to oppose circumcision? I don't know. I mean, it's such a trivial pursuit, like occupation. Like, I made it my life's work to oppose circumcision. I guess maybe like if you have a botched circumcision, and then you're gonna get on the crusade to end circumcision. But I'm uncircumcised, so he would like me, I guess. All right, so he was convicted of money laundering in connection with sex crimes of his daughter. Whoa. That sounds bad. All right. So she's got Pluto and Uranus in the eighth cusp, right on the eighth cusp, right? Very clearly in the eighth. So Pluto and Uranus. So obviously that's mid-60s, 1965. Mercury is in the 10th house, moving to the 11th. So 10th career, 11th community. Prostitution ring, 8th, right? Neptune in Scorpio in the 10th whole sign house, but 9th quadrant, but very close to the 10th. And then there's this very intense T-square with Chiron and Saturn in Pisces, 2nd house, assets, water, right? And then opposite Pluto and Uranus and Mercury. Mercury being the 8th lord. So this is very intense. And then Chiron, right? It's not wounds and healing here. It is doing something very unusual and different and unique. Stepping out of the box, destroying the box, completely demolishing the box, What box? There is no box with Chiron, right? And so she's being a Hollywood madam. Um, it's Saturn also for being the leader, the boss. Let's see her. Venus is ninth and fourth for home. Whorehouse, right? Fourth. She's the boss of the whorehouse. And then Mars, MC Mars 12th. MC Lord Mars 12th house, but first whole sign house. And close to the ascendant. You know, so her name, but 12th house, hidden secret, that sort of thing. Jupiter, assets, 5th house, entertainment. Assets, entertainment. Pretty girls, entertainment. Women treated like objects, entertainment. Yeah. It's all pretty clear, I think. 11th house, 5th house. So groups, networks, or the whore community, entertaining people. Capricorn sun, again, leader, boss lady. All right. And the square for like the T square for the tension, you know, convicted. You know, having to do with the law, Saturn. 8th house is sex and criminality, generally speaking, potentially. Neptune, Scorpio. Okay. Jupiter's retro. Interestingly, Saturn is not retro, but Jupiter is. And Jupiter still has to do with the law, but it's usually more philosophical, you know. So like in this case, not so much against the physical law, but the moral law, the philosophical law, right? The religious law. Thou shalt not be a madam of a whorehouse, right? Something like that. Uranus is retro. Five days. Pretty slow it's pretty close to, so Uranus is pretty close to stationary, so powerful, you know, shocking, stepping, I don't know, rebellion, right? Uranus is rebellious and shocking and independent minded, doesn't really care what anyone else thinks. Let's go to Larry Flynt, right? Larry Flynt, not a sex worker in himself, but the guy behind Penthouse nudie magazine. Was an American publisher and president of Larry Flynt Publications. Produces pornographic magazines such as Hustler. Okay, not Penthouse, Hustler. Okay, whatever. And so he was made famous to the movies. That's how I heard of him. That's the only reason I knew him. So he was fought several high-profile legal battles involving the First Amendment and unsuccessfully ran for public office, so politics. He was paralyzed from the waist down due to injuries. Assassination attempt. He was assassinated by serial killer Joseph Paul Franklin. Never heard of him. All right. Okay, so Hustler newsletter. All right. Well, all right. I think this is Hustler clubs. Okay. All right. First, I want to look at Mercury. So why was he paralyzed? I'm gonna look at that first, actually. It's in the 5th. Mars ruling the 6th. It's in Scorpio. Oh, Pluto square the sun. That's why. That's a really bad aspect. It's not Mercury. It's not Mars being the 6th lord. It's Sun. Sun is a universal indicator of somebody's vitality, right? So Sun can always, no matter what house it rules, show weakness, of the body or of the being of the whole person. It can, I think it can, anyway, it's the square to Pluto. But Pluto also relates to, that's actually a mutual reception. So it shouldn't be so bad, but because Pluto is so destructive, it really is causing damage. Yeah. But anyway, Mars being the sixth lord, so magazine, automatically think about third lord and sixth lord. And actually, that's a mutual reception between third and sixth. So magazine, third for media, sixth for regular publication. Right? It's not like he's writing this epic novel. He's the editor or whatever, the producer, owner of a magazine. So third and sixth. Right? Third, if it was like an epic novel, it would be like Saturn in the third. Right? Saturn in good dignity in the third, or something like that. Or third lord conjunct Saturn, or Mercury, I don't know, something. Anyway, Scorpio, Mars, Venus, Sun. Saturn's the eighth lord. Saturn's in the 12th. Conjunct Uranus. A little wide, but still. Mercury's in Libra with a Pluto, Sun, mutual reception. Also, Venus is affected by Pluto big time because Venus ruling the 12th and the 5th. So obviously entertainment. Mercury is in the 5th. Yeah, and these are in the 5th house too. So obviously still entertainment, but sexual entertainment. Right. Jupiter is in Cancer in the 2nd. Jupiter is the MC Lord. South Node conjunct MC. So early career rise to success. I don't know how old he was, but definitely an early rise. And then in the 2nd house, he's not making women famous for who they are. He's making women famous for their assets. Their assets. Their assets. So Jupiter, making money out of women's assets. Cancer. And then it's in good dignity. And then Moon is in Leo. So 2nd lord in Leo, entertainment. 3rd, the media, publication. North node in Virgo in the 4th. That's more brick and mortar. So later, I guess, like, he developed the strip clubs and whatnot. That would be more the North node in Virgo in the 4th. Not necessarily Virgo, but the 4th house, definitely. Also politics, North node in the 4th. And then also Mars would be another indicator for politics because 11th house in good dignity at 0 degrees Scorpio. Mars, Venus, Sun also. Because Mars and Venus are both sexual planets, the male and female sexuality in Scorpio, conjunct the Sun. 8th lord in Gemini, not only 12th, but Gemini, media, publication, media, writing, Uranus and Gemini, media, communications. So Saturn and Uranus retro. That makes sense. Pluto is very slow. Let's see how many days Pluto is. 6 days from station. Not too bad. Okay. Definitely makes sense. Samantha Fox. I mean, she's a very lightly involved in the whole porn sex work. She was as a young person. I don't know how old she was. Let me see. She was pretty young. She posed topless. Oh, I didn't even write it. I should have wrote the thing. But anyway, Samantha Fox, before making it as a singer, posed topless and posed for Playboy. Right? But we can see South Node, Neptune, Scorpio, 8th house. Very sexual, highly. And South Node, young. Right? That's very prominent. And then Sun, Mars in Aries. So she's very sexual, very hot-blooded. Sun and Mars in Aries, both in good dignity. Very action-oriented, hyper-aggressive, hypersexual. Wow, yeah. And then North Node in the second, you know, assets again. And Venus in Pisces, Chiron, Saturn, Mercury, but also for singing, North Node second house in Taurus. And then Venus exalted, second lord exalted for singing, right? But Mars, eighth lord, conjunct her sun in the first house in good dignity. Saturn, MC lord, 12th house, Pisces, so watery, water nature, Pisces, 12th. So still relates. And then there's the really nice trine there with the Pisces and Scorpio planets. 8th, 12th. 8th is more sexuality, but 12th can be, still has that. It's almost like a secondary kind of sexual influence because it's hidden things, it's secret things. It lends itself to it. It's not outright sex or sexuality, but it definitely is trying to it. Can easily lend itself to that. And then for work, also Pluto exactly conjunct Uranus in the 6th. So something very exotic, plutonic, right? Scorpionic for daily work. Uranus is retro, Neptune's retro, Pluto's retro. Without resistance. Jupiter, Mercury, mutual reception. Yeah. Jupiter, Mercury. Oh, exact by 1 degree. And it's a square. And it's 3rd and 12th lords. So communication and creativity for singing. So we already have the second lord activated and the second house activated with the North Node and second lord exalted in the 11th, 12th, and then the 12th and 3rd lords mutual reception. The creativity from the 12th and the communication from the 3rd lord in Jupiter and Mercury, Gemini, Pisces. That makes a lot of sense. As far as her singing goes, right? Hugh Hefner, the other magazine, Playboy, right? Big name in nudie mag, in the nudie mag industry. So Mercury's MC and Ascendant Lord, it's in Aries, it's in the 7th. So working with others, but then Sun moving close to the 8th cusp in Aries, exalted. Chiron conjunct the 8th cusp in the 8th house, 8th whole sign house. And Chiron just relates to, again, being completely unique, one of a kind, different. And yes, potential for rejection, potential for wounds from that rejection, but not necessarily. Chiron does not equal wounds. Chiron does not equal healing. If there's wounds, there is a need for healing. If there's no wounds, there's no need for healing. Chiron really means, and again, I've said it a million times, but I'll say it a million more because I need to get this out to everyone because it's true, it's real. Chiron means weird, different, unique, one of a kind. And yes, there's risk of rejection for that. But because he was the first, he was a pioneer. I don't know if I wrote the thing here, but all right. So he was born in 1926. That's a long time ago. He was a pioneer. That's a Chiron. American magazine publisher, editor, businessman, playboy. And he was a playboy. Yeah, he had sex with like probably all the playgirl, all the girl. What are they called? Bunnies. Right. He was best known as editor-in-chief and publisher of Playboy magazine, which he founded. He was also the founder and chief creative officer of Playboy Enterprises, publishing group that operates the magazine. Hefner was also a political activist and philanthropist in several causes and public issues. He died of natural causes. I heard that there was a tunnel under Playboy Mansion and that he was involved with all sorts of nefarious stuff, including like all the dirty things the celebrities are into, including like child trafficking, pedophilia, and all that horrible, horrible, horrible things. Like the really like the stuff that just makes you not want to live on this planet anymore. He was involved with all that. So, but North Node and Pluto in Cancer in the 10th. Right? So a career with Pluto Cancer is very feminine. Cancer is women. Pluto and Cancer. He pioneered the whole nudie mag thing. Right? Like, was there anyone before him? I doubt it. And if there was, he did it better. And it wasn't very much. It's not like there were a lot of it. And okay, so Uranus in Pisces directly conjunct the descendant. So, like very independent, like shocking, unusual relationship with women. He just didn't care. Like he's just gonna be a playboy, have sex with women. He's all about the women, all about the other, And then Venus exalted, Moon in Pisces, 6th house, the periodical, the magazine, the regularity. Mars is the 8th lord. It's in the 5th house. So sex, entertainment. Sex, entertainment. It's not sex here. It's entertainment here. Right? It was a magazine about entertainment. Also, 3rd lord. Right? Writing, not novels, writing books, writing magazines on entertainment. But it's also widely conjunct the 6th lord. And then that's actually a mutual reception. Mars, Saturn, 3rd, 6th, 3rd, 6th, not 3rd, 5th, 3rd, 6th. It's actually 5th in 6th and 3rd. So entertainment, regular daily work, magazine, 3rd, writing. Saturn, boss. Scorpio, sex, sexuality. Jupiter opposite Neptune. Jupiter's the 7th in the 5th. So partnerships are going towards entertainment, conjuncting the 8th lord, sex, and the regularity. Venus is ruling the 9th. Publication. 9th house rules publications. And also the 2nd, the assets. Right? The ass and the sets. The ass and the sets. You gotta have fun with it. Mars and Saturn, mutual reception. Already called that. Mars and Saturn. So Saturn, right? Saturn's ruling the 5th and the 6th. The entertainment and the daily grind. So once again, Pluto, North Node, 10th house, Cancer, Chiron in the 8th, Mars in the 5th, 5th, Saturn and 5th and 5th and 6th lord, and Mars, mutual reception. So 8th, that's also playing in the 8th and the 3rd and the 5th and the 6th. So anyway, yeah. Venus exalted in the 6th represents pretty women, daily work. Moon is the 11th lord, the community, the Playboy community in the 6th house, daily magazine, Playboy bunnies, all that. Pluto trine Moon, also Moon dignifying Pluto, Moon Cancer. Saturn trine Uranus. Uranus exalted in Scorpio, dignifying this Saturn as well as Mars with mutual reception. Xaviera Hollander. Okay. You probably never heard of her. I never heard of her until yesterday. She was born Vera de Vries of Surabaya, Indonesia, to a Jewish father and Christian mother. She's best known as the author of The Happy Hooker. The book was notable for its frankness at the time and is considered a landmark of positive writing about sex. It was made into a film starring Lynn Redgrave, Hollander has since written a number of other books and produced plays in Amsterdam. Her latest book, Child No More, is the heartfelt story of losing her own mother. Okay. Saturn is the eighth lord, and it's exactly conjunct her ascendant to the degree, also conjunct her sun. As well as the ninth lord, publishing. South node in the ninth. North node in the third for writing books. But Jupiter is in the second in Cancer. Again, making notable her assets, her ass and her set. Moon in Scorpio. Widely conjunct the sixth house cusp, but fifth house also, entertainment and daily work. Jupiter ruling the MC in the second, career out of her assets. Pluto conjunct Venus, Venus being representing her as a woman, but also 12th lord and the fifth lord, entertainment, sex entertainment, involving her assets, and 12th, hidden secret things and things like that. Mercury conjunct Uranus in Gemini. That's pretty brilliant. Mercury's her ascendant lord in the 12th, showing that she's very independent and willing to do, shocking things. Shocking because really Uranus doesn't consider itself shocking. It just doesn't consider what is convention. And anything that's non-conventional can be very shocking. If you're not if everyone's doing the same thing and you're like, I don't give a fuck what everyone's doing, I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want to do. It's gonna be shocking to everyone else who's doing the same fucking thing. That it's just like, like they're all sheep, running their way like across, a cliff or whatever. And you're like, fuck that. It's gonna be shocking to everyone else. She doesn't even have anything retrograde except the nodes. Except Neptune's really slow. Neptune's in the fourth in Virgo. Yeah, 4 days from station, so pretty close. Pretty slow. And Neptune is in Virgo, but trine Mercury. So that's really nice. The Neptune in Virgo, yeah. Yeah, obviously not in good dignity, but the slow makes it very powerful. Fourth house, home. So it is a water house, and it represents early childhood or earlier days. And Neptune ruling Pisces, Scorpio moon. So an eighth lord, and yeah. Everything I said. I said it all. All right. Let's keep going. John Holmes, very destructive individual, very, very destructive. Like if you ever read about him or know much about him, he was like, okay, obviously, so he had a very large penis, involved in many, many porn films, legendary porn actor, but like highly destructive, did drugs, was like a criminal, and was just a horrible person. Sorry to say. I mean, maybe not a horrible person, but he did horrible things. Yeah. I just want to clarify. No, but I don't believe anyone's truly horrible. I just think people do horrible things. So just for clarity's sake. But Sun conjunct Pluto and Leo. And again, fifth house, but this is entertainment. It's not sex. The Pluto's sex. Pluto's definitely sex because it's involved with all the criminality, the destructive behavior, and Sun conjunct Pluto. Hopefully they can get involved in something like a higher evolution of Pluto, which would be like, psychology or astrology or like strategy, masterminding, like general of an army, war strategist, or like a chess player, or something like that, a scientist. If they're not going to do any of that really like deep like research and like thinking, like intellectual kind of mastermind kind of stuff, they could be very, very destructive. So if you have a very prominent Pluto, get involved in astrology, psychology, chess, strategy, like leadership, where you have to like, mastermind something. Otherwise, you're just gonna be driven to destruction. Like really, you need to do something big time with Pluto. But here he's involved in entertainment, very destructive entertainment. Again, fifth house is not sex, it's entertainment. It's performance. But with Pluto, definitely can involve sex. And then eighth lord Venus is in Leo in the sixth, daily work. And he's got a whole Virgo stellium. And Virgo is not behaving very Virgo-ish here, because Virgo is like, oh, I don't want to take off my clothes. That's, but obviously Sun conjunct Pluto. Pluto is very powerful. And it's overriding all this Virgo stuff. All the Virgo, like, the timidity or sort of squeamishness that Virgo tends to have. Pisces ascendant, so Pisces is very liberal, right? Pisces is very open to anything, not just sex, like everything: drugs, alcohol, criminality, immorality. I mean, it depends on the Pisces, obviously. It depends how it's going to go, but Jupiter is in the sixth house in Virgo, and ascendant lord Jupiter is not in good dignity here, but it's conjunct an exalted Mercury, Chiron, Mars. And then Chiron conjunct Mars, his male sexuality is becoming very chironic. So just like out of the box, very unusual, very different, very one of a kind, very just like just no rules, no boundaries, just being completely unique. Uranian in a sense, and Chiron does travel between Saturn and Uranus. It is one of the sort of outer planets. It's not really a planet, it's just its own thing. It's a Chiron, right? But he also has Moon in the second house for, the assets. Not a woman, but men still have assets. He's got a very long asset. That's what he's famous for, his very long asset. And that's fifth house. So he's entertainment is going toward assets. North node in the fifth house in Cancer. So let's see. I wish I knew how to say like, oh, like, yeah, here's why. But maybe it's this moon. Moon can be physical. Moon in the second. I don't know. Like, I don't want to say like everyone who has Moon in the second is gonna have a big asset. But I guess I'd have to see a lot of charts, right? Of people who have very large assets. Guys with large assets. If you understand what I'm saying. Sun, Moon and Sun are trine, so that's a generally happy disposition, right? And actually, if you see a video, I did see a video, not a porn video. I saw an interview with him, and he's very happy. Like, he generally has like this very charming, happy, demeanor about him. And Sun's in Leo, it's in domicile, and it exalts in Aries, so it's dignifying that. So maybe that's why, right? Maybe that produces a very large asset. I don't know. So obviously Venus. Yeah, so I think I said everything. Nothing retrograde. Amazing. Right? But it's just Sun conjunct Pluto is really making him very, very destructive. Because he didn't have any other asset besides his large asset. That was his only asset. Let's keep going. Margo St. James. Margo St. James is self-described sex-positive feminist, founded the organization Coyote. Call off your old tired ethics, right? So she's, you know, against traditional moral values, I guess. With advocates to decriminalization of prostitution. I'm on both camps, by the way, if you're wondering. I value traditional moralities and ethics, but I don't like being bound by anything traditional. I'm unconventional, but I like both sides. In case you care, which you probably don't. As president of the San Francisco Sexual Freedom League, St. James advocated women's rights and organized sex parties and orgies. She claims to be a former prostitute, and for this reason, she has been criticized by anti-pornography feminists, including Dorchen Leidholt. Who cares? Her claim to have been a prostitute is based on 1962 prostitute conviction. She founded St. James Infirmary in San Francisco to provide health care to sex workers community. All right. The former prostitute turned sex activist advocate. So Mercury's in Virgo, conjunct the Sun, ascendant Lord, Neptune. So Neptune, Sun, Mercury, ascendant Lord. So strong, very strong first house. So this shows that she herself is a very strong person, very strong leader. Right? And then Neptune is also going to lend itself to this very, very liberal, very open, even though it's not in good dignity in here in Virgo. Mercury is, but still. So, so sexuality and stuff like that. Venus in the 12th. Venus is the MC Lord. It's in the 12th. In Leo. So bringing that entertainment, secret, hidden thing, trine the 8th. And then Saturn's in the 8th. And Saturn is ruling the 6th. So daily work, 8th house, sexuality. It's not even ruling the 5th cusp, just the 6th. But Jupiter is in poor dignity stationary, so not really in poor dignity. It is in Capricorn, so money, entertainment, station, powerful, right? So, yeah, that's like a teacher and like almost like a guru. Very powerful in the 5th house, but a Capricorn. So like, boss lady. Yeah. Boss lady teacher. Not very like, obviously the philosophical element is going to be lessened to some extent, but the station, it means powerful. She's still a powerful teacher, right? Uranus is in the 9th, but it's in the same whole sign house as the MC. It's not actually the 10th whole sign house, it's the 9th whole sign house, but South Node in the 10th. So early rise to career. Let's see. Saturn's not in good dignity in the 8th, also. Which can show a loss, like dictatorship, but also like Saturn's retrograde, so it's very rebellious, it's very against the law, like not really concerning itself with the law, sexuality. Actually, Jupiter's ruling the cusp, but it's not a angular cusp, so it really doesn't matter. Because like I've always said, like you choose a different house system, it'll go back and forth. Like, so I'm not really worried about that. I kind of like, I just kind of squint at the non-angular house cusps to see where it's more at. It's more Aries, right? But if you want to look Jupiter in the 5th, 8th house entertainment, okay, fine. Pluto in Cancer, the 12th. Pluto, light trine to Saturn, North Node, Moon, Mars. Um, and the moon Mars for women is definitely going to be leaning towards women's advocacy because Mars is very masculine and Moon is feminine. So she's identifying more with the Moon, and the Mars is potential male aggression, right? So this is something that's very top of the mind concerning, especially because North Node is here. It's fourth house. It's like, homeland. Home is where the heart is. Something very personal to her that she's very concerned with male aggression, right? Because North Node Moon, like her North Node's pulling into her own heart and femininity, and she's like worried, concerned with the Mars, Mars ruling the fourth and the eighth, right? So sexuality and male aggression, things like that. Women's advocate, right? If it were a male, it would be different. Chiron's in the 11th. Chiron square Saturn. So she's definitely gonna have a difficult time with her very unusual community of sex workers, right? There's that square, and there's going to be issues with the law. Definitely. That's it. Jupiter station, that's very powerful. Makes her a very strong leader and boss. Saturn's retro, Uranus is retro, very rebellious. Nodes are station, and probably the station nodes make them even more powerful, right? Gotta be, but it's not the same as a stationary planet because they go station all the time. They're always changing direction. If you look at the motion of the nodes, it's just very wobbly. It's constantly going back and forth. Ron Jeremy, the other famous porn star with a very big asset. Very large asset. Pisces. So what was it? All right, so it was Moon in Aries for John Holmes with the Sun trine and dignifying the moon, not exalting, dignifying the moon. With Ron Jeremy, it's Pisces, and Pisces is large. That's one thing you have to remember about Pisces. Pisces rules fish, but it also rules whales and elephants. Elephant is a Pisces animal. Now, you're not going to hear that. I didn't read that. It sounds like, oh, I read in a book. No, I have my sun and Venus in the 8th house. I can take secrets from the ether. That's what the 8th house does. 12th house too, right? These are where you discover your own secrets. So I just intuitively understand that elephant is a Pisces animal. Just like wolves and dogs are Aries animal. And that's a whole nother subject. But Pisces is large. So he's got his sun in Pisces in the 2nd house. So he does have a very large asset, like John Holmes. And I hope you understand what I mean by asset. I mean penis. It's just more fun to say asset, right? And where is this very large Jupiterian asset? It's in Taurus, right? In the 3rd, 4th, which is fine, I guess, But he does have Mars conjunct Venus. Very sexual. Very powerful physicality, right? These are the type of people that can work out and get big. And he obviously did not get big. He got big. He was born big down there. So he got big in a different way. And Sun also exalts in Aries. So it's, it's not really, well, actually, Venus and Sun have a mutual reception. Bingo. And then, Mars and domicile. So Mars, Venus, Sun all have dignity here. Second and third lord, mutual reception by exaltation, Sun and Venus, really strong. And then Jupiter and Venus's sign. So it's all kind of tying together. And then opposite Neptune and Saturn. So Mercury, the eighth lord, South Node Pluto, by the way. Mercury's the eighth lord and Aries in the second, but third whole sign house. So second, eighth lord in the second for assets. Those assets, very large assets. Moon is the sixth lord in the first. So that's just, that helps with his expression. I mean, that's good on camera, right? Moon in the first, because that's going to make him very expressive. Not that he needs to be, but I guess, like, you know, a lot of guys try and be porn actors. I don't know how many, but enough, I guess. You got to have something to make you stand out besides a very large asset. But South Node Pluto, Leo, right? There was the Pluto again, seventh house, Leo, for entertainment. Uranus retrograde, Cancer, sixth house. Shocking work. Something very independent in his daily routine, daily grind. What he does for a job, what he does on daily, making videos, right? Again and again and again. Uranus is retrograde, very rebellious, Cancer. Moon, feminine. You know, working with females. Having sex. Sun is exactly in conjunct Pluto, but Sun is also ruling Leo. So the tie to Pluto with the Sun is very strong. Ascendant Lord Saturn conjunct Neptune. It's in the ninth. So something very adventurous, but it's also opposite Mars and Venus. But the Neptune for the liberalism, for the fantasy, for the make-believe, for the film, for the video. Libra is just other people, relationships. And then Venus. Venus is not in good dignity, but it does have that mutual reception with Sun by exaltation. And it has aspect from, and then also Saturn is exalted, right? And then Venus is dignifying the ascendant lord and Neptune. But he probably had some enemies because Saturn is not good for Aries, so, but he's Saturn. But Neptune, no. Yeah, this Mars opposite Saturn does not feel good to me. Definitely feels destructive, and he probably did have some enemies. A strong Mars can really do damage. Just as much damage as a weak Mars. Weak Mars is more diffuse and not as focused. A strong Mars can really, really, like, in a very focused way, in a very intentional way, cause harm or accidents. Let's see. Did I copy? All right. Let me read this. Ron Jeremy is an American pornographic actor nicknamed the Hedgehog. Why is he that? Oh, because he can curl up into a ball and commit self-fellatio. That's why he's that. He was ranked by AVN at #1 in their 100 top porn stars of all time. Jeremy has also appeared in non-pornographic films. Trauma Entertainment, Boondock Saints, and Studio 54. He's well known for his large circumcised penis, claimed by him to be 9.75 inches. That's large. and it's a large asset, and he's gained some notoriety for being capable of autofellatio. That's gross. No, I'm not gonna read the rest of them. My Virgo moon's like it's a little too squeamish. Yeah. So definitely penis. I mean, just definitely like that. I think it has a lot to do with the second house assets. Chiron's trying Jupiter. Jupiter's ruling the second. And the 12th. And the 11th. It's something very unusual about his asset. Let's keep going. Mia Khalifa. I'll just read it. I won't. All right. Lebanese American media personality, webcam model, former adult film actress. She began acting in adult film industry in 2014, become the most viewed performer on Pornhub in 2 months. Her career choice was met with controversy in the Middle East, especially for a video which she performed sexual acts while wearing a hijab. Now, that makes sense if you know how conservative the Arabic Muslim community is. They're ultra conservative. And so they had a horrible time, even though it's like repressed sexuality and they do horrible things culturally, unfortunately, it's just the fact. I'm not, we can't turn a blind eye just because religion. People are so ridiculous whenever they talk about, we have to respect all. No, you fucking don't have to respect all religions, right? Satanism is a religion too, and they fucking do horrible things. We don't have to respect religion. You just don't. If they're doing horrible things, they need to be called out. You don't have to respect religion just because it's fucking religion. So, religion, let's put this out there. Religion does not have to be respected if they're doing horrible things. An 80-year-old man marrying a 12-year-old? Fuck no. Right? That needs to be called out. Just because it's part of the religion. Fuck off. Doesn't fucking matter. Whatever. Right? All right. Pluto and Scorpio conjunct the MC. Right? Obvious. Where's Mars? Mars in Cancer. In the 6th whole sign house. In the 5th house, moving to the 6th. Daily work, entertainment. Mars in Cancer. Hypersexual. Retrograde. Right? Hypersexual and potentially violent. But for her, obviously not. Like if she's a man, more the violence. If she's a woman, more the sexuality. Probably. Right? Retrograde. So just like, resist, unconventional, resist. 5th house, 6th house. I mean, we don't really need to see anything else, but there's more. Moon, Jupiter in the 8th quadrant, moving to the 9th. So she's getting more philosophical and more high-minded as she gets older. Ascendant Lord Saturn in the 1st. So, she's made a name for herself. She's the biggest name in porn, right? Or one of them. Very strong 1st house. If somebody's going to make a name for themselves, they need a strong 1st house. Or a very strong MC. Or combination. But Sun conjunct Saturn. Saturn's the 12th lord as well. Sun is the 7th lord. So attracting people to her. And Sun Saturn also is very, very, it's not a great combination, but if they can overcome, and Saturn's in good dignity here, if they can overcome the fear, they can become leaders, right? There are a lot of Sun Saturn people who do tremendous things. And some Sun Saturn people, they just can't overcome their fear and doubts and insecurities. And so they never really do anything. And then obviously Sun Saturn opposite Chiron, where Chiron's in Leo, in the 7th house. So something very unusual, different, unique. Yeah, rejection. Rejection's part of it. Rejection's always part of doing something completely unique. It's part of it. It's just par for the course. You do something where nobody else has ever done it before. Yes, people will reject you for it, and you may get hurt for it by it. And she does have the opposition and then conjunct. So she probably was like, tortured for, in her homeland, and people probably threatened her. They're like, oh, if you ever step, a foot back in Lebanon, we'll kill you. And they probably would. Probably hang her up in the town square, murder her ass. She probably never went home, or maybe she did. She probably had security, but maybe she never just went home. Never went back to Beirut, Lebanon. That would be my guess. This is the 90s conjunction of Uranus and Neptune in Capricorn, 93. Wonderful musical time because it was just like creative weirdness and dryness. Very unusual. Like the Capricorn is very, very dry. Uranus and Neptune. And this is like where grunge came from. Grunge obviously evokes like this dirty, earthy image. That's Capricorn. But the music is Neptune, and the alternative, like retro, like that's Uranus. Almost like punky kind of stuff, but Pluto is also in Scorpio. So heavy and having that sexual vibe and ties into metal. So that's a tangent. I'm going off the rails here, but that's okay. Mercury's the eighth lord. It's in Pisces, in the first whole sign house. Second whole sign house, first quadrant. Right? So let's see. So influencing the second, her assets. It's not good dignity, Mercury, but it's Pisces. Right? So Pisces, ultra liberal, definitely going to be open to anything. Jupiter in the eighth. Moving to the ninth, but eighth quadrant. Neptune in the 12th, co-rule. And then Venus, second whole sign house. Venus also not in good dignity. Not second quadrant. Again, the assets. Venus, woman. Venus is ruling the fourth, so early childhood, early development, early. And career success, also North Node. South Node, fifth house, entertainment. I'm jumping around. Venus is also ruling the ninth cusp in the second. So that actually, I think, is like, because ninth is so elevated and high-minded, it's like kind of adds value to the second house and her assets. I mean, she was the biggest porn star for a little while, but South Node, fifth house, entertainment. Again, Mars. And now she's just like online talking about stuff. I haven't heard a word she said. Like, I really don't want to, because she's probably not very intelligent. I've heard some stupid stuff she said. Someone's like, oh, steer clear. She's obviously not the brightest book in the library. If that's a saying. It's a saying now, I guess. Mars and Jupiter retro. So philosophy, moralism, that's sort of stuff, religion. And then Mars, sexuality. Keep going. Traci Lords. Now Traci Lords was, I'll just read it. Born Nora Louise Kuzma. It's kind of a fun name. Was an American film actress and singer. She first achieved notoriety for her underage appearance in pornographic films and Penthouse magazine. She was 16-year-old in her first film, later becoming television and B-movie actress. And she's kind of like well-rounded. Like she did singing and acting and TV. Um, um, her stage name is said to be in tribute to Katharine Hepburn's character Traci Lord from the Philadelphia Story. I saw that movie. It's good. And Katharine Hepburn's great in that. Um, let's see here. Let's see here. Venus in Taurus in the seventh quadrant, but eighth whole sign house, and then Sun in the eighth, and Mars in the eighth, and Mercury in the eighth quadrant. Mercury in the ninth whole sign house. But so 3 planets in the eighth whole sign house, 3 planets in the eighth quadrant, 2 planets fully, Sun and Mars. All right. And Venus is very strong. So when Venus is strong, indulgence is strong. So is creativity. So Sun is not weak in Taurus. It's like worse in Libra. Like if Venus and Sun are in Libra, it's even worse. But Venus and Taurus, Venus and Sun in Taurus definitely creates somebody who's going to be very sensual, right? And for a woman, you know, Venusian, probably very large assets, voluptuous. Venus is also her ascendant lord. Moon, MC in the 12th. And so the 12th is going to lend itself to lots of things, including singing and acting, performing, creativity. Obviously, adult stuff as well, especially conjunct Pluto. MC Lord Venus, MC Lord Moon conjunct Pluto and Uranus. 12th house. This is something very, you know, sexual. Moon Pluto is very difficult just on its own, no matter where it is. So very destructive tendency. But this is in her subconscious. So just somebody who, yeah, definitely really destructive, but should really try and do some work on herself, like spiritually, psychologically, to clean up all that 12th house mess, because otherwise it's just going to be horrible for her. Second house, Scorpio with Neptune here. And again, like she was a singer, actress, and porn star. So all these things apply, right? The assets, her ass and her set, as well as singing, voice, right? Speaking, acting. Square to Jupiter. Jupiter's the 6th and the 3rd. Yeah, I mean, that's just going to further expand this kind of Neptunian liberalism. But Jupiter and Neptune together are just really, I mean, the square makes her struggle. It's going to be messy. It's, you know, it adds a lot of stress to both the planets, hard work, you know, and things don't go that easily, but it's also going to make her a bit more delusional fantasy. And, you know, she never made it super big, but big enough in all, like, a bunch of different areas to make her famous. I really liked her in Crybaby. I thought she was really good in that. If you ever saw that, I think it's a John Waters film. Yeah, perfect for that kind of role. She got North Node Saturn. So definitely as the North Node's kicking in, the Saturn, it's not in good dignity, Saturn in Aries, but it is Saturn. So I'm thinking maybe that's going to want to haul her in. And also, but here's the thing, North Node in the 7th wants to, they're not committed initially to partnerships. They're all about themselves, and they want multiple partners. The more the better, generally speaking, because this is the area that's undeveloped, 7th house. So it's just kind of like Just anything goes when you have North Node in the seventh. As they mature, then they find the person that they fall in love with and they settle down with and they commit to. And then it's just one, right? But initially, when they're young, it's just like, yeah, let's sleep with everyone. Like anything goes. We're gonna sleep with all of them, right? Bring on the whole football team. Whatever, something like that. Yeah, so you can see very strong 8th house activity, 12th house moon Pluto, and then Neptune Scorpio 2nd house. So very creative and performance oriented, entertaining with Jupiter's kind of slow, probably not that slow. Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, retro, Venus and Mercury in domicile. So she's very smart. Mercury's in Gemini, Venus in Taurus, so very beautiful, sexual, sensual. Keep going. Barbara Payton. All right, born Barbara Lee Redfield in Cloquet. There's probably a better way of saying that, Minnesota. She was the daughter of restaurateurs and raised in Odessa, Texas. At age 17, she headed for Hollywood in search of career movies and eventually placed under contract, where she began appearing in bit parts. After being discovered by James Cagney and his producer, brother William, Payton starred in Cagney's Kiss Tomorrow, Goodbye. So she was an actress. And then there were several skirmishes with the law, passing bad checks, public drunkenness, mental illness, drug abuse, and ultimately she became a prostitute. So it's usually in reverse, but Barbara Payton is a rare example who made it in Hollywood and then became a prostitute. So it's like, you think it's like the other way around. Like they're a stripper, they're like a prostitute, they're a dancer, whatever. And then they make it big. Barbara Payton went in reverse. So let's see what's going on here. Leo rising. Sun, Mars, Mercury, and Scorpio. 5th house, entertainment. It's very Scorpio. Mars ruling the MC as well. Mars in domicile. What's the 8th floor? So Saturn. Saturn's in the 5th. Sexual entertainment. South Node. Saturn. Jupiter is their 6th lord. And it's in the 9th quadrant, but 8th whole sign house. And it's in Pisces, so it's in domicile. But conjunct Uranus. Why does she turn to drugs? I mean, obviously a lot of Scorpio. And then the trine to Pluto in the 12th in Cancer. See, this is too destructive. This is why. I mean, it's really trine. It's retrograde. It's in the 12th. See, Pluto in the 12th gets ignored because anything in the 12th house is likely to be ignored by the person because it's subconscious. You don't notice the subconscious things. That which is subconscious, we don't see. But it influences us very strongly. Like we don't know why we do things, and then we do them. Why did she turn to drugs and prostitution when she was a film actress? When she had already made it in Hollywood? It's ridiculous. Well, she got Pluto in the 12th. And it's in Cancer and it's retrograde. She's a woman. So it's really affecting her as a woman, her femininity. And it's driving her to very destructive. means. And then it's trine Mars. It's heavily influencing this Sun, Mars, and Mercury, which is her ascendant Lord Sun and her Sun. Like Sun is the Sun, it's also the ascendant Lord. It's in Scorpio. Mars also. Mars MC, career. Pluto. Right? 12th house. Retrograde. Mercury is also retrograde. And then we got the second house for acting and assets. Neptune. Neptune is good for acting, but it's also extremely liberal, and anything goes with Neptune, including drugs and alcohol. Second house is consumption as well, right? So consuming drugs. Moon is not ruling a cusp, but it's taking up most of the 12th house, and it's dispositing Pluto in the second. So it's moving towards that, moving towards the, yeah, obviously the acting, but more destructive drugs, alcohol, and utilizing her assets. Venus is obviously, not obviously, I mean, Venus is in Libra. In the third, conjunct the fourth, but so she's very pretty, so she can use that too for her career. Chiron is in the 10th. Great for character roles, like really unusual things, like playing like something just so completely odd, like a superhero or just like a weirdo or something odd. Good for acting, in fact. Chiron in the 10th. It also shows very unusual career, especially retrograde. Willingness to just be something that just defies any sort of conformity. She also has a grand water shrine. Well, no, it's out of sign, but you see, yeah, it's weird. But anyway, all three water signs are represented here, just in differing degrees. Jupiter is exactly trine Sun. From the 9th, but 8th whole sign house. Yeah, I already said Mars ruling the MCs and Scorpio in the 5th house. So sexual entertainment. What else? North Node Gemini with Mercury and Scorpio. So probably as she got older, her North Node was being activated, and that activated this Mercury, which is scorpionic, activating Mars and Sun, also the Pluto. Right? I mean, South Node's in Saturn and Sag, so a bit more conservative. Right? Saturn. Saturn's in neutral dignity. 5th house, entertainment. Right? So she's going into movies at first. Jupiter's in good dignity, conjunct Uranus in the 9th. 8th whole sign house, but 9th quadrant. So adventurous, philosophical. I don't really see 9th house as movies and film, but Jupiter and Pisces, definitely. Pisces for creativity, fantasy, make-believe, film, definitely. So initially, it's more Jupiter and Pisces. So success in Pisces things, Jupiter, success. And Uranus, something very shocking, rebellious. Quick rise, can be very quick, sudden. And then possibly trauma as well. Maybe some very difficult experiences, especially because retrograde. Trying her ascendant. And then North Node's activating Scorpio. 11th, actually activating the 12th cusp too. Mercury's the 12th cusp. I mean, South Node, Saturn's activating this 8th cusp. So already, but it is Saturn. But still. The Pluto, she was skating by with the Pluto for a while, and then it got to her. So, word of warning, do not ignore Pluto in the 12th. Get to meditating, get to shadow work, get to therapy, get to healing trauma, wounds. Mercury's retro, Jupiter's retro, Uranus is retro, Pluto's retro, Chiron's retro. A lot of retros. So she's really just not conventional, not going with the flow, but a lot of good dignity planets. You know, how could a successful film actress turn to drugs and alcohol and prostitution? They have to be mentally ill, and that's what the fourth house come. Sorry, 12th house Pluto. 12th house would really point to that big time. Then we look to Moon's in Virgo, but it's conjunct Neptune in the second house. Anyway. Neptune in conjunct Uranus. She might have been traumatized. There might have been some trauma that she experienced because Uranus retrograde, right? Jupiter is ruling the south node, right? So, or some early childhood trauma, really, and then this Pluto. In any case, let's keep going. Amber Rose. Amber Rose, born in Philly, PA, hometown, my hometown. Is an American model and former exotic dancer, best known for a relationship with musician Kanye West. I guess she's weird. Like she shaved her head and it's like blonde. Not a good look for me. I don't like that. Anyway, whatever. She has appeared in several music videos, including the Ludacris video for his single "What Them Girls Like," Young Jeezy's video for Vacation, and recently Mary Mary's music for video for God and Me. Rose was also subject of semi-nude photo spread for Smooth magazine. Has been a guest when she interviewed about her sexual orientation and sexual history. So she's a light version of this, but you know, I just for variety, why not? I think she did pose nude on occasion or here and there or whatever. So that should be a part of her chart. I'm just gonna pause it for a second. Gotta run the back. Alrighty, back. All right. Okay. Mars is her ascendant Lord, Mars in the sixth conjunct Venus. And that's quite good for physicality, right? Mars and Venus always really nice together. Sixth house Virgo, I mean, not so great, but Mars quite aggressive. Sixth house also. Right, Mars and Virgo, sixth house. But really good for our sensuality, sexuality, physicality, Mars, Venus. Venus ruling the seventh house and the second house. Again, the assets used for, work, daily grind, working for others, right? She's appearing in music videos for her assets and her physicality, her herself. But she's getting notoriety because also a Senate Lord. Mars also ruling the eighth house. So work, sex work, right? Sexual work, sensual sexual work. It's very sexual, right? That's why she appears in music videos. And then Sun conjunct Pluto, very obvious, right? Saturn in Scorpio, with 4 degrees from the eighth cusp. Saturn ruling the MC. Bingo. I mean, it's all really right here. MC and 11th house. So 8th Lord, conjunct the ascendant. 8th Lord, first and 8th Lord in the 6th, conjunct 2nd and 7th. Right, so South Node Jupiter, just South Node Jupiter in Sag in the 9th can represent early success, early rise to success. Right? Because Jupiter's success. Jupiter's abundance. especially in good dignity. It also shows certain kind of philosophical or religious kind of wisdom. But North Node, Gemini, third house. So writing, communicating. I have no idea what she's doing now, but maybe something like that. Intellect, media. And then Moon in the first, very expressive. Heart on the sleeve, and that's fourth. So fourth lord in the first. So home, hometown, early childhood. Very emotional, I guess, but aggressive at the same time. Full moon, exactly. Okay, one thing, here's a pet peeve, not pet peeve, but just something I noticed. People have a hard time understanding aspects. Opposition may be difficult, but if it's healthy, if the planets are working together, especially moon, sun, and moon, that's not bad. It's good, right? Full moon is good. Why? Because the moon is receiving the full aspect of the sun, right? It's full and bright. So this moon is lighting up the first house, right? When there's a full moon, moon's big and bright. What does that mean? It's a luminary. What does that mean? It's illuminating things. It's shining light on things. Why does the sun matter? Because it shines the light wherever it is. So the sun in dark places is really powerful. 8th house, 12th house, 4th house, because it's shining the light in dark places. You can see, I have it in the 8th house. That's why I can see the secrets of the 8th house, because the sun is lighting it up. If you got a full moon in the 8th house, you're having your big bright moon in the 8th. It's not as bright as the sun, but it is the moon. And it could be very powerfully intuitive as well, right? Also for relationships, excellent. Full moons are excellent, but some people are like, oh, mother and father are fighting. I mean, that's more so. That would be more so if it was in conjunct sun and moon or square, right? I have the square. Some people have the in conjunct. Opposition, that's attraction. Opposites attract. Did we forget that? Did we throw out common sense when we're talking about astrology? Opposites attract. So you're a very healthy male, young, good looking, fit, healthy libido, like full of masculine energy, right? And you see your exact opposite in a woman. Are you gonna fight with her, or are you gonna be attracted to her? I mean, you might fight sometimes. The overall overriding predominant relationship with that woman who's exactly opposite you is attraction, mutual, hopefully, ideally. It's not, oh, I see somebody who's exactly my opposite, I'm going to start fighting with her. You don't go up to a beautiful woman who you're attracted to and punch her in the face. So people lose their mind when they talk about astrology. They're just like, I forget how to think. No, oppositions, especially if the two sides can get along. I mean, sun exalts in Aries, moon is fine in Libra, right? So, but this is powerful attraction here. But people like her. I don't like her, but a lot of people do, right? You always got to look at the planet, how it works in the other side. So sun exalts in Aries. So this is the sun, which is her 5th lord, entertainment, is attracted to this moon a lot, which is her 4th lord. So that's more representative of her, especially as a younger version of her. But it's also in the 1st house, so her. So she's very attractive to a lot of people. So that's how you got to look at it. Now, if it was reversed, if moon was in Libra, sun was in Aries, sun does not like Libra, so maybe not as much, right? But you got to see which planets, where it is, what houses, what signs, what signs and houses it's ruling, what houses it's ruling. And she's got almost everything direct, so she's kind of, go with the flow type of person. Not a lot of resistance, but she, Chiron retro, so she's willing to be very unique. She got mutual reception between Venus and Mercury. That's really good. Yeah. The Mercury Venus is not in good dignity here, but because of the Libra, especially with Mercury in Libra, and then that's 6th and 7th house, daily work, and then partnership. So out of daily work comes partnership. That's why she's getting notoriety. She gets a job being sexual, sensual, and then she becomes a partner. And then Sun Pluto, this very destructive quality. Venus also second lord, assets. Conjunct first lord. All right. Annie Sprinkle. Annie Sprinkle is another Philly, PA, hometown girl. My hometown. I live in Philly. Is a former prostitute, stripper, adult film star, cable television host, porn magazine editor and writer, and sex film producer. She received a BFA in photography from the School of Visual Arts. Currently, Sprinkle works as a performance artist and sex educator. According to Curb magazine, Sprinkle, who is bisexual, undertook a same-sex marriage in Canada with her longtime partner. Sprinkle is known as the prostitute and adult film star turned sex educator and artist. Okay. The very, very ultra liberal Neptune in the first house, and then Saturn and Scorpio in the second house. So assets are very sexual. Sexual assets. Saturn, 4th and 5th. Entertainment and home. Early childhood. Early on, she is becoming an authority, sexual utilizing her sexual assets. Very strong career, right? Ruled by the moon. MC Lord Moon, 8th house in Taurus. Bingo. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. By that, I just mean MC Lord in the 8th. We see that so many times for these porn actresses and adult film strippers, all that, sex workers. It's exalted in the 8th house. MC Lord and perfectly 6th house, 8 degrees, 8 degrees. Huge career, plus Jupiter in Cancer and South Node, and Mercury in Uranus, and then Sun in 0 degrees Leo in the 10th house, 11th whole sign house. Pluto and Leo in the 11th quadrant, 11th whole sign house, fully in the 11th. So, sexual community, sexual network. Is becoming part of her career. Venus, 8th lord in the 12th. And it's pretty much trine the moon. So Venus, not in good dignity itself, but trining the moon. So Venus in poor dignity, arguably, or inarguably, however you want to look at it. Venus in poor dignity can relate to women in porn, because it's not a very dignified subject. Mars is the second lord, and Mars is in the 3rd house in Jupiter, in Sag. North Node, Capricorn, Chiron, 4th house, right? So she's going more towards something stable, something homebound. Well, Chiron, not really. I mean, so Chiron is just very unusual, very different, right? Again, but Capricorn is boss, leadership, authority, but it's also activating the Saturn and Scorpio in 2nd house. But we can see very strong career, out of sexuality, exalted, you know, her whole life never stopped being about sex and sexuality and sex work. And then sex community, working with others. But she's, early rise, early success, Jupiter in Cancer, success, but moving towards Capricorn. Leadership, authority, boss. And then probably like some sort of brick and mortar center for sexual education. I don't know. But she probably does have a brick and mortar kind of facility where she operates from and holds her sex education stuff from. And it's also a grand earth trine, so something very practical. So she's like a leader in sex education, right? Mars retro. So Mars definitely relating to sex. And Chiron retro. Saturn slow. Probably not that slow though. All right, so pretty obvious, pretty straightforward. And that's it. I will do a chart comparison and I'm going to pause it and that will be next. All right, I'm back and we're going to do some chart comparisons. So get ready. Hold on. All righty. So I have 3 piles here. This one is the obvious one where 10th Lord, 10th Lord's in the 8th. And so we got Maya Angelou. We're just gonna run through them quickly. But yeah, we're just going for the major stuff here. So 10th Lord in the 8th house, Maya Angelou, Chris Pratt, Amber Rose, either in the 8th or Scorpio close to the 8th. I mean, that's very close to the 8th. And there are other obviously other factors, but just the most obvious one. Annie Sprinkle, Candy Bar. Oh no, she has 8th Lord in the 10th, right? And then North Node in the 8th. So some derivatives sometimes, I guess. Where is this one, Ascendant Lord in the 8th, right? Jupiter. Not exactly in the 8th technically, but almost conjunct the 8th cusp from the 7th, but very, very close. Heidi Fleiss, Hollywood Madam. Not exactly a personal planet. These are both outer planets, but Uranus co-rules the ascendant, right? So obviously Scorpio MC. Yeah, Mars in the 12th. But still very relevant. Pluto and Uranus, the ascendant lord. Pluto in general for sex, sexuality, desire, really. It's not physical sex, it's the desirous nature of sex. And here Venus, right? Venus in the 8th whole sign house approaching the cusp, and the sun in the 8th. Traci Lords. Venus ruling the ascendant. And then MC in the 12th conjunct Pluto. All right. So that's some derivative of MC or 8th Lord or ascendant. And here we have 6th and 8th house mixing together. We have 8th Lord in the 6th, Venus. Why they conjunct the sun. Oh, by the way, I added Black Moon Lilith to these. Sometimes it seems to make sense, other times it doesn't. So, if you just want to know just for your own and part of fortune, I mean, maybe that's relevant, maybe it's not. So I just thought I'd throw that in there. Let's see here. Oh, this one's a little different, but yeah. Pluto in Scorpio conjunct the MC, Mia Khalifa, and MC Lord in the 6th, but in Cancer. I mean, technically it's in the 5th, but it's in the 6th whole sign house. Why they conjunct the 6th cusp, and it's in Cancer. It's not Scorpio, but Cancer. Mars in Cancer is very sexual. Then Margo St. James, 6th Lord in the 8th. MC Lord in the 12th. And then Blac Chyna, we have 8th Lord in the 6th. 6 is daily work, right? It's usually where we come underneath somebody else. We're working for somebody else. Versus the 10th, where it's about our own career and public image. Mercury, 6th Lord, Scorpio, but approaching the 8th cusp. And then 2nd in the 8th, conjunct Pluto. Then we got this third pile. These are the outliers. These are something a little bit different. But we got Roseanne Barr with the MC in Scorpio, Sun in Scorpio, MC and Lord in the 12th. Larry Flynt, Jupiter in the 2nd house in Cancer. Right. No 8th house activity here. The 8th and the 12th. Anyway. See, South Node in Neptune in the 8th and Scorpio. But Mars, where's Mars? Mars conjunct the Sun in the 1st house. Both in domicile. And then we got 6 Pluto in the 6th, along with Uranus. Samantha Fox. Mr. Hefner. 2nd Lord in the 6th in Pisces. Chiron in the 8th. Mars in the 5th. Yeah, 8th and the 5th. Entertainment for Hugh Hefner. Sexy entertainment. Ron Jeremy, MC Scorpio, South Node Pluto in the 7th, Mercury in the 3rd. That's 2nd. Yeah, assets. It's a little different. Xaviera Hollander. Let's see. Jupiter in the 2nd, MC Lord in the 2nd. Again, they had the assets. Saturn, 8th Lord conjunct the Ascendant and the Sun. Barbara Payton, right? She had Pluto in the 12th. She went a little bit crazy, I think, from the trauma. She's a little bit different, but obviously Sun, Mars, Mercury, Scorpio, and Saturn's ruling the 8th. Saturn's in the 5th, so sexy entertainment. Right. So anyway, yeah, you can see that for a lot of them, it's very prominent. MC or Ascendant Lord in the 8th, 6th and 8th Lord mixing together, and then some it's just kind of more sporadic, a bit of mixed stuff, but very Scorpio heavy, very 8th house heavy, very Pluto heavy, all of them, right? You find something that relates to one of those elements in all the charts, or sometimes Mars in Cancer would be the other one, but water signs in general, very prominent Pluto and Cancer, right, in the 12th. That's just a quick chart comparison. I don't want to compare everything, but that's the main thing. I think that's the meat of the substance. That's like the heart of what's going on here, with this comparison, these different piles. And we obviously, can go a lot deeper in each one, but this, I think, sums it up, and the video is long enough. So that's it for the Astrology of Sex. I hope you like it. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, and book a reading with me. Once again, macroastrology.com is my website, and macrogoldmachine@yahoo.com is my email address. You can just reach out to me for whatever. That's it. Mediocre astrologer signing off. Meh, he's okay.